In this edition of Southern Newsweek, tragedy in central Dunedin after a fatal car accident prompts a warning from police. More than 20 years of research earns a chemistry professor the University of Otago's highest honour, and a slumber party in the Octagon generates thousands of dollars for a local cause. Kia ora, I'm Holly Buchanan. Police are issuing safety warnings following a fatal car crash in the central city recently. An 18-year-old woman died just after the incident in which a car with 6 occupants collided with a ute. And as investigations continue, police say the tragedy serves as a timely reminder.
Assessing the carnage of this morning's fatal collision. Police remain at the scene of the crash between a car with 6 occupants and a ute. The driver and sole occupant of the ute is uninjured, but an 18-year-old female passenger from the car has died and several others are injured.
Just after 2 o'clock this morning, we had a 2-car crash at the intersection of Hope and Stafford Street. Unfortunately, one occupant of the vehicle, one of the vehicles has died on her way to hospital.
Initial inquiries indicate the driver of the car failed to stop at the Hope Street give way sign, colliding with the ute on the corner of Stafford Street. The driver's been breath tested, and at this stage police won't confirm whether alcohol was a factor in the crash. Officers are still gathering information about occupants, including their ages.
So we're still just going through the early stages, carrying out a scene examination. There are a lot of people and witnesses to speak to, so early stages.
Crash survivors are being interviewed by police away from the scene, but a number of people remain at the cordon as investigators gather witness testimony.
Because of the location, there are a lot of people, residents nearby, so there would have been a lot of people that heard the noise of the crash, and potentially they've come to have a look and speak with our staff there. But no, the people that were involved have been spoken to either at the hospital or at the police station.
Aitken can't speculate about what's happened and says things should become clearer in the next couple of days. For now, she says the tragedy is a reminder to all motorists that driving involves extreme risk.
Every time you get into a vehicle, you're placing yourself at risk. So, this is really tragic. We never, any death on our road is one death too many. So, and our thoughts are with the family and of the victim and the people that have been involved in this crash.
Police say it's too early to comment on whether criminal charges will be laid, and that'll ultimately be determined by what their investigation reveals. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Almost $1 million is being used to nurture budding local athletes. The Otago Community Trust has recently donated over $900,000 to sporting organisations. And for one local agency, the money is helping to ensure promising sports stars stay put.
Field sport involves a lot of administration, and that's where Raylene Bates from the Otago Academy of Sport comes in. She's making use of the Academy's latest funding, $30,000 from the Otago Community Trust, and it's making her job a lot easier.
We are reliant on those grants. We're not funded for the talent development programs as in the provincial ones from government or anything like that. We solely rely on those grants. The Otago Community Trust have been with us all the way during these talent development programs since they first started 10 years ago.
The program caters to a range of sports including hockey, athletics and swimming. And Bates says it gives regional athletes a clear pathway to the high performance level.
The board saw that there was a major gap in providing a service and delivery of programs and education for those athletes who aren't quite at the cadre level and obviously joining high performance sport, but are still at that national level of representing the province. And the other thing is we want to try and keep those athletes in the province rather than having to shift north.
She says relying on grants is an ongoing challenge, but it's worth it to see local athletes further their careers. And she says it's the community at large that benefits from the success of local sports people.
We are a sport proud community. We are blue and gold, we're Otago, we're Central Otago, and when we're doing well in sport, it actually boosts people's morale. And I think sport is one of our positive things we have within this region. We've got some outstanding athletes, we've got some outstanding coaches.
The Otago Academy of Sport works with other agencies to ensure Dunedin and the wider region is well represented in the sports sector. Some more blue and gold is seen on the podium. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
A leading chemistry researcher is the latest recipient of the University of Otago's highest accolade. She's won the Distinguished Research Medal for more than 2 decades of work, and now she's passing on her knowledge to the city's budding scientists.
Professor Sally Brooke has been in and out of these science laboratories for almost 1/4 of a century, and her work around inorganic chemistry is paying off, securing her the University of Otago's highest honour, a Distinguished Research Medal. And while she's pleased with the award, she says her line of research is all about teamwork.
This is a recognition of the whole team's effort, not just mine, that's for sure. I don't do wet chemistry experiments in the lab anymore. That's I tend to be too busy organising, coordinating, trying to bring the best out in each of the individuals working with me.
Brooke's research is internationally recognised, with several of her papers making the cover of respected chemistry journals. She now spends most of her time supervising others in their own scientific discovery, but remains involved in current research.
So while I'm not actually doing the science in the lab, we have regular meetings to look into a bit more detail in what they're doing, but also I'll wander through the lab and just say, oh, what have you got happening in the hood there today? Or, how did you get on with the experiment we discussed last time? So, as you say, a lot of mentoring now.
Brooke credits her parents for encouraging her to follow her passion, which has seen her work on research in Germany before settling in Dunedin.
It's a nice working environment every day. It's a good team here. Department of Chemistry is very good and got great students coming through. University is very good at supporting PhD scholarships for bright students, and so you can have a really effective research team here in Dunedin and do stuff that the world looks at, so it's kind of cool.
And she plans to stick around with plenty of ambitious projects at the university. They include a public lecture later this year to pass on her wealth of scientific knowledge. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
A resurgence in Māori culture has the staff of a local school praising the city's new direction. But as Māori Language Week was recently marked, the number of native speakers continues to fall. And that's got staff warning against complacency.
It's a different take on education. These pupils at Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Otapoti learn about fire safety. And as this is a full Māori language immersion school, the entire curriculum is taught in Te Reo. The school is just one place in the city preserving the Māori language, and pupils love it.
It's cool, there's all my friends here, and then the kid is some of my family.
It's an exciting week for the school's 27 pupils as the country celebrates the Māori language. These tamariki have been involved in the making of an associated video, and the Kapahaka group is planning a public performance. School staff say Dunedin residents are open and receptive to Te Reo nowadays, a far cry from what it was like in the early 90s.
At that time I felt myself personally that I couldn't be Māori, so who I was really oppressed. Now, and I didn't really enjoy Dunedin at the time, I always went home.
She says the school's pupils help normalise Māori language as they speak it outside the classroom, and she urges others to follow suit because the future of widespread Te Reo is in doubt.
Even though we might hear it, and I know and I'm saying that there's been so much more organised in terms of Te Reo Māori and Tikanga Māori here in Ōtepoti, we can't be complacent because the numbers have declined of speakers of Te Reo Māori.
Kawe Small says the language can be saved if children are supported in learning it, particularly by local and central government. And she's among those who hope Māori Language Week continues to encourage the preservation of New Zealand's native tongue. Ko David DeLorean, no toru te kau mā iwa te kerere o Ōtepoti.
A sleep out under the stars is generating thousands of dollars for the Dunedin night shelter. Tertiary students have slumbered in the street to help the shelter buy its rental premises. And organisers say that shows just how big Scarfie's hearts are.
Ready to rough it, students prepare their sleeping arrangements as they face a night on the street. They're raising money and awareness for the Dunedin night shelter and highlighting the difficulties facing the city's homeless population.
In a lot of communities, homelessness often isn't seen and therefore a little bit out of mind. So we want to, raise awareness around an issue that is otherwise invisible.
Although the final total hasn't been worked out yet, Lau estimates close to $10,000 has been raised for the shelter. She says everyone's blown away by the support, and it proves Scarfies truly care about their community.
A lot of our students aren't from Dunedin, but they call Dunedin home for 3 to 5 years, so they love this opportunity to get involved.
Lau says up to 200 people took part in the sleep out, with the vast majority of them students. They filled the octagon with countless cardboard shelters and heard speeches from a range of prominent locals. It all combined to make a one-of-a-kind experience.
Being in an anti-bullying group, I think it's really important to help out other people, and also because I do realise that a lot of people don't have a place to go, unlike me, and I think being part of this really shows other people that this is a really bad situation for most people in Dunedin.
The night did have its lows, however, with a donation bucket containing about $200 stolen. Lau says that hasn't put a damper on spirits, and one generous local gifted money to make up for what was lost. Now it's hoped the combined effort will push the night shelter closer to its goal of home ownership. David DeLorean, 39 Dunedin News.
Coming up on Southern Newsweek, expansion looks likely for one Dunedin business thanks to the purchase of a new machine. And hundreds of lives are saved as students line up on campus to assist the blood service. Welcome back. The business arm of Otago's Disabled Citizens Society is expanding with a new $12,000 machine. Its purchase was made possible by a Dunedin businessman's donation. And while in many cases technology replaces manpower, this time it's creating jobs.
Business is booming at Cargill Enterprises with this new electronic food packing machine. It automatically weighs and divides food products, increasing efficiency and allowing for new contracts.
Our suppliers have got more work than we're able to do, so by having the machine here we're going to be able to produce a lot more bags, which allows more work to be given to us, and it means that hopefully then we'll be able to hire more staff to do that, so it's a win-win all round.
Local optometrist Mark Bridgemount donated $7,000 to the business so it could buy the machine. Cargill Enterprises is the trading arm of the Otago Disabled Citizens Society, employing about 70 staff with varying levels of disability in half a dozen business units.
And it allows them to be able to learn how to work in a good, safe environment, and it's a fantastic place to be part of.
There are currently a dozen people working in the food packing area, repacking bulk products including sweets, herbs and spices. Just one of many services on site, centred around the local manufacturing sector.
We're always trying to come up with new ideas, and we hope to be making sugar sticks shortly for using in cafeterias, doing a lot more jelly beans in confectionery, and there's also lots and lots of other work coming through that the Dunedin community and Otago use us to do for them.
Cargill Enterprises is also one of 14 community groups nationwide selected to receive a share of $250,000. It's eligible for funding as the Otago champion of the Good in the Hood competition. And if successful, it'll use the money for a new van and forklift, further boosting business. Rosie Mannins, 39 Dunedin News.
After 5 long years, University A is once again at the top of Premier Rugby. Tyree were defeated 31 points to 15 in Saturday's final. And despite imperfect seasons, the captains of both teams say it's been a fantastic year.
The much-coveted Spates Challenge Shield has changed hands, with the University A Premiers celebrating a convincing final win over Tyree. And Captain Sam Sturgis says despite some glitches through the season, players' self-confidence is behind their newfound status.
We didn't start very well, had a very good start to the year, but we hung in there and learnt more systems and structure and did more analysis, and finally all strung it together. And we talked before the game that if we were ever down and out, we knew we got self-belief, and we've done it before, so let's do it again, yeah.
It's the team's first ultimate win since 2010. Revenge for the pummelling Tyree dished out in last year's final. But the battle was tough as the Eels put up a strong fight in the first 40 minutes, scoring 10 points in an effort to match University A's 17 at half-time. And as the game wore on, Tyree lost momentum, as captain Charlie O'Connell explained after the final whistle.
I think varsity just made the most of their opportunities. They played a lot more rugby than what we played, and as a result managed to come out with more points and therefore won the game.
He says the side's defence was tested as University gained momentum with a couple of quick tries. And from there, Tyree's struggle got harder. But overall, O'Connell's happy with a great season.
We take a lot out of the season, success getting to the final in the first place, and there were a lot of individual achievements throughout the year, and we're really happy about how the team performed. Just disappointed we couldn't get the result today and top it all off.
About 3,000 fans helped spur the teams on at Forsyth Bar Stadium. And now the season's over, Sturgis says it's time to celebrate.
At the end of the day, I think the boys just dug deep and grafted away, and we did what we want to do, and we've got the result, and it's going to be a big couple of days. Now
players on all teams are looking forward to rest and relaxation before training begins again next year. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Hundreds of lives are being saved by local tertiary students lining up to donate blood. Staff from the New Zealand Blood Service were blown away by the response to a blood drive on campus as they struggled to satisfy a never-ending demand.
Doing her bit to save lives, Scarfie Sophie Kemp puts herself in the chair to donate blood. She's among the hundreds of local Scarfies who have done so over the past few days. It's support that's amazing staff brought in from Christchurch to run this blood drive.
This is my 7th time giving blood, and it's really not that much of an inconvenience, so I don't mind doing it, and I'd keep doing it for as long as I can.
Hundreds of units of blood like this have been collected, and the young volunteers are an especially welcome sight for blood service staff, as many become repeat donors, a relief due to ongoing issues with donor retention.
Constantly we hear people saying, oh yeah, I'm a donor, yeah, I probably haven't been for a few months, and we look in our system and find, here it was 2 years ago, and they love coming back, but it's just sometimes they just need a little bit of prompt to remind them we haven't seen them for a while.
NZ Blood staff say people can feel quite nervous before giving blood, but this process only actually takes a few minutes, and people generally feel much better about the whole thing afterwards. The blood's put to good use too.
Every time somebody donates it, save up to 3 lives, so they're all doing an awesome job, so it makes a huge difference, and it's a great opportunity for us to get new donors, and we particularly need young donors because our database is ageing, so to have this opportunity to get all these young donors along is just brilliant.
Safeguards are in place to ensure donated blood is clean, and Mackay's thrilled with the ongoing support of local Scarfies, as it's vulnerable Kiwis that benefit the most from the influx of young blood. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
And just ahead on Southern Newsweek, an oversupply of puppies stretches a local charity, and financial support enables hundreds of young children to learn some basic fundamental skills. Welcome back. A puppy surprise is leaving a local charity in the lurch. Dog Rescue Dunedin is struggling financially due to the recent birth of more than a dozen puppies, and it's proving to be a unique learning experience for some locals.
These little pups are growing up fast. Born 3 weeks ago in a Mosgiel home, they're already beginning to walk around and make noise. New mum Bella is responsible for the litter, and she's putting Dog Rescue Dunedin in a unique position.
In the 3 years that we've been going, 3-4 years we're going, it's the first that we've had puppies be born, so a new experience for us as well.
The charity is struggling with the price of raising these pooches, with each puppy costing the organisation more than $500. They're in the foster care of a local dog lover, but they urgently need permanent homes.
It's quite expensive to raise a puppy. You've got vaccinations, you've got worming, you've got, fleeing if necessary, and then desexing as well.
Since starting up a few years ago, Dog Rescue Dunedin's saved more than 280 dogs from the pound. The animals stay in foster homes like this one until they're adopted. But with puppies comes extra pressure.
8 or 9 weeks old, I'd like to see them leave here and go to their forever homes, but there are other dogs out there, but there are people looking for dogs, and it would be lovely for someone to take a rescue dog.
Stanton and Aiken are eager for these puppies to go to loving owners, and adoption can't come soon enough, as the miracle of nature strains purse strings. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
A unique rowing machine is boosting efforts to help local teens develop life skills. It's being used for an ongoing sports development program, and the workouts are benefiting more than just health.
Developing life skills while developing muscles. Disabled Dunedin high schoolers get a workout during this week's session of the Otago Secondary School's adaptive sport program. Organisers get these teens to try out as many sports as possible throughout the year, with rowing the latest.
What I try and do is organise something for each term, and it can be anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks for the duration of the sessions. So I really want to give the students a bit of time to develop their skills, because over a period of time it's easy to forget things if you're only doing a couple of weeks. So we want to really make it at least a month sessions.
O'Hagan says this facility's rowing pool is giving the workouts a unique boost. It's the only one of its kind in the South Island, so it's getting put through its paces, while users develop their athletic and social ability.
They get to develop relationships and social skills with other people. They meet people in similar situations, so they enjoy coming along to see their friends that they've made friends with during the time that they've been here. And they may well come over a period of 7 or 8 years, so they get to know a lot of faces, which is good.
O'Hagan's pleased to see an increasing number of faces attending. Numbers were modest when the program began 10 years ago, but it's grown noticeably since then, more than doubling to the current crop of about 50 pupils.
It also helps the people that normally do sporting activities or teaching, those sort of things, gives them opportunity to work with these young people with disability, and it gives them that mutual understanding about what their needs are and how good they are as well. They have their own abilities, so it really is a mutual development and a respect.
While it can take time for the skills learned here to sink in, O'Hagan says they do, and that has a life-changing effect, while fostering a love of sport. David DeLorean, 39 Dunedin News.
And finally, hundreds more local children are learning the basics of movement at the city's top sporting venue. Sport Otago's Fundamental Skills program continues to attract grants from community organisations, and the financial support means it can be expanded throughout the region.
Getting active at the stadium. Hundreds of local primary school pupils learned fundamental movement skills as a precursor to sport. Community Sports Advisor Emma Maxwell says it's important to invest time and money into encouraging young children off the couch.
I think it's worthy because it gives them the skills and the confidence to be active, so they don't necessarily have to play in a sport, but they can have an active lifestyle, which is benefit for their health.
The program's just received over $8,000 from the Otago Community Trust. And Maxwell says without that financial help, these activity days couldn't be run.
We apply for funding to be able to run these events for these students. There's nothing really much out there on the market for new entrant to year 2 for activities and events like this. So it's always a positive when we can actually give back to the schools and the community helps with that.
The program's also for teachers who learn activities to implement in their respective schools. And Maxwell says it's all about setting kids up with an active lifestyle early on.
We basically want to get them involved, get them confident, get them active and show enjoyment through all these fun and challenging games.
More than 400 primary school children are involved this time around. And with increasing support from schools and funding agencies, Maxwell says there's room for growth.
We're hoping to get out into more schools through our On Your Marks projects and events that we can run throughout each term. So it's definitely developing and progressing as a necessary thing.
There's hope this fun day will spark a lifelong passion for fitness among participants, which could see these guys just a hop, skip and a jump away from more serious play in the stadium. Ruby McAndrew, 39 Dunedin News.
And that's all for this edition of Southern Newsweek. Please visit our website dunedintv.co.nz, where you can download Southern Newsweek and watch individual clips of 39 Dunedin News or webcast the show. I'm Holly Buchanan. Thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.